there everybody, this is Julie the Whippy Chick here, and today we are going to make a beret. We're going to make the Snow Day Beret. The Snow Day Beret got its name because it was designed on a very snowy day, so it seemed appropriate. I'm going to be using this Tivoli XL that I bought from Hobby or Hobby, I'm never quite sure how to say that. And this yarn, funny enough, does not list its weight, but I would put this at a 4-weight yarn. Okay, it's 100% acrylic, and you know, it's not as easily accessible as some yarns here in the United States. So a good substitute, and actually a very inexpensive substitute, is this Premier Just yarn, worsted weight yarn. And this is a medium 4, which is what makes me think this is probably about a 4 as well. They're very similar in weight. So this one, a lot of times you can get this right at the Dollar Tree here in the United States, and it's $1 a ball. So that's a really, really good deal, and it's a very decent yarn. I've used it for lots of projects. So I have made the Snow Day Beret in both of these, and I would say they were both fine for the job. This is a 60-gram ball of the Just yarn, and the Tivoli is a 30-gram. But either way, you're going to need 2 of them to complete this project. I did use a size 5mm. See if I can get that up there. Size 5mm hook or a size H. You are also going to need a pair of scissors. And like I always say, scissors in your favorite color that are cute always work best. You are going to need a darning needle just to weave in the ends. You're definitely going to need this guy. Stitch marker is going to be your best friend for this job. You're only going to need one, but you're definitely going to need one. And if you don't have a stitch marker, a paper clip works well, a safety pin, even a bobby pin for your hair. All of those things will work well, as long as you have something that is going to mark your stitch at the end of the round. And the last thing, you don't have to have this, but it might be helpful to have a row counter. Again, you don't have to have it. You can easily count your rows, or rounds. I should say rounds, because we are going to be working in the round. So you don't have to have this, but it might be handy for you. I know it's handy for me. All right, so let's get started. First thing we need to do is a magic ring. Okay, we are working this entire project in the round, so we're going to start with a magic ring. There are lots and lots of video tutorials out there on YouTube. I will show you real quick how I do mine. And if you're still struggling, I also have my own tutorial on how to do the magic ring. But here's how it goes. I pinch my yarn between my index finger and my thumb with my left hand. I wrap it around, wrap it around these 2 fingers once and twice. Insert my hook underneath here, pull up that little bit of a loop, go behind my middle finger, pull up another loop, and pull it through. Okay, that's how I make my magic ring. Like I said, there's lots and lots of ways. The first thing we need to do for round 1 is we are going to work 10 half double crochets into the magic ring. Okay, so here's a half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the ring, pull up a loop, and then yarn over or under in my case, and pull through all 3 loops, and that creates your first half double crochet. We need to do that 9 more times. We need to get real comfortable with this stitch, because that is the only stitch we use for this whole project. Well, no, that's not true. We do use the single crochet towards the end. So there's 2. Here's 3. Whoops. Being stubborn with me here. Here's 4. Here's 5. Here's 6. Here's 7. Here's 8. Here's 9. Whoops. Sorry about that. Here's 9. And here's 10. Now, in a lot of projects that work in the round, you join your round. You join one stitch to the first, the last stitch to the first. We are not doing that in this project. This project is going to work in a continuous spiral. So that is why it is incredibly important to remember to insert your stitch marker into your last stitch. The last stitch you create in the row. So I just insert that there and close it up. So I know that that's where I ended. So the next stitch is going to be my first stitch. And again, you don't need to use a stitch or a row counter, but I think it's nice. Plus, it's incredibly satisfying to hear that sound. Okay, so this looks like a very big hole at the top of our hat, so we're going to tighten that up. We're going to hold on to our project with one hand, the tail with the other, and just give that tail a tug. And you see that tightens that right up. Now that is going to loosen up over the next couple rounds, and that's okay. We can just keep tightening it back up again. Okay, so that is the end of round 1. We're going to count back, make sure we have 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and hiding down here is number 10. That is the stitch we are going to build into for our next round. We are going to start to make our round a little bit bigger. We're actually going to double it this time. We're going to put 2 half double crochets into every stitch. So since we have 10 now, we're going to end up with 20 at the end of this round. So let's get started. Half double crochet into that first stitch, and he is kind of hiding under there, so do have to kind of wiggle our hook in there to get him out into the light of day. Oh my goodness, come on now, being a little stubborn. So there's one, and another one right into that same stitch. So that's 2 half double crochets into the first stitch. And now let's go into the second stitch and place 2 half double crochets in there. There's one, and there's 2. And the next. There's one, and there's 2. And the next. There's one, and there's 2. And the next. Oops. There's one. There's 2. And the next. There's one. There's 2. And the next. There's one. There's 2. And the next. Here's one. Here's 2. Next. There's one. There's 2. And you can see from the stitch marker that now we are at the end of the round. This is the last stitch in that round. So we're going to remove that and place 2 half double crochets into that last stitch. So here's one, and here's 2, making this the last stitch in our round. So I can't stress this enough. As soon as you finish that last stitch in your round, you're going to want to put that stitch marker right back in. It's very easy to forget. And like I said, that hole might get a little bit bigger. We don't want a hole at the top of our head, so we're just going to tighten that back up a little bit. After a couple rounds, it's going to stay tight, believe me. And that's the end of round 2. Okay, so we are going to count back to make sure that we have our 20 stitches and also to make sure that we know where to build into our next stitch. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 is the stitch right here. So this is going to be the first stitch in our next round. Now for round 3, we are going to build 1 half double crochet into this stitch, and then in the second stitch we are going to put in 2, and that is going to be our pattern that we repeat all the way around. So let's pretend our stitches are children going to school, and in every round we're going to be adding more students, okay? And the new students like to be with a student who's been here for a while, so they are going to go with the old students. It'll make sense in a second. So here's student number 1 going into the first stitch. There's 1. And then in the next stitch, we're going to build student number 2. And student number 3 is new. So the teacher says, student number 3, you stick with student number 2. And we're going to put him in the same stitch as student number 2. That way they can hold hands and be friends. Now we're going to start that same little story over. We're going to put one stitch or student alone. And then in the next stitch, we're going to have numbers 2 and number 3. They're going to stay together. Number 2 is going to help number 3. So there's 2 stitches in that second stitch. Let's do it again. The first stitch gets 1. Numbers 2 and 3 go in the second one together. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but that's the way that I help myself remember. So here's 1 and 2 and 3 together. 2 and 3 together. Here's 1 in the next stitch, and 2 and 3 in the next. They're gonna stay together. And 1 in the next. And 2 and 3 in the next stitch together. One in the next. And 2 and 3 in the next stitch together. And 1 in the next. And 2 and 3 in the next stitch together. One in the next. And 2 and 3 in the next stitch together. And 1 in the next. Whoops, my stitch marker is getting in the way. 1 in the next. And 2 and 3 are going to go in this last stitch together. So we remove our stitch marker. And we put 2 and 3 in there together. And we are going to immediately put our stitch marker back onto that last stitch. And count back to make sure that we have the right number of stitches. Now we've increased by 10 more, so we went from 20 to 30. So this round we have 30 stitches at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and there's 30. That is the end of round 3. Is see if I can get it so you can see the number change. All right, here we are ready for round 4. Okay, so for round 4, we are going to work some more increases, and this time we are going to work a half double crochet into the first stitch in the second stitch, and then 2 half double crochets into the next. Okay, so I've got stitch number 1, the first stitch, stitch number 2 into the second stitch, and stitches number 3 and 4 are going to stick together into the next. So there's 3 and 4. And we're going to continue that all the way around. So we have 1 and 2, and in the next stitch we're going to add 2 more. So here's 3, and number 4 is going to stay with number 3. Number 4 is the new guy. He's the new kid. He's going to stay with number 3. So here's 1 and 2. Number 3's been in our round for a while, but number 4 is the new guy. So he's going to stay with number 3. Go in the same stitch. It's a silly story. There's 1. There's 2. And 3 and 4 stick together. All right. I'm going to let you to continue that all the way around to your stitch marker. When you get to your stitch marker, you should be at the end of your pattern. So 3 and 4 will go into that stitch, and we'll start round 5 from there. Okay, we've just finished round 4, and I checked already to make sure that I have 40 stitches on my round, but you might want to take a minute to go ahead and check to make sure that you have 40 stitches all the way around, and then we will start round 5. So to begin round 5, we're increasing again by 10 stitches in this round. So we are going to put 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, 1 in the second stitch, 1 in the third stitch, and then 2 in the fourth stitch. So 4 and 5 are going to go together. Okay, so here's 1 in the first stitch, 1 in the second stitch, 1 in the third stitch, and number 4 and number 5 are going to stick together because number 5 is our new stitch, needs a friend. Okay, it's our new student. So let's start again. There's 1 in the first stitch, 1 in the second, so that makes 2, 1 in the third, that makes 3, and 4 and 5 stick together in that fourth stitch. Okay, and you are just going to continue in this way to the end of the round, and when you get to the stitch marker, that will be the end of the pattern. So you should have stitches 4 and 5 going into that same stitch when you get to the stitch marker, and I will see you there. Okay, that brings us to the beginning, or I'm sorry, that brings us to the end of round 5. And if you do a quick stitch count all the way around, you will find that you have 50 stitches in this round. So we are going to move on to round 6. Again, don't forget to place your stitch marker. You'll be very sad and sorry if you don't, believe me. Okay, so for the next one, this is round 6, so the 6th stitch is the new guy. So stitches 5 and 6 are going to go together. So we're going to do, whoops, a half double crochet in the first stitch, a half double crochet in the second stitch, a half double crochet in the third stitch, a half double crochet in the 4th stitch, and 2 half double crochets in the 5th stitch. So here's number 5, and here's our new guy, number 6. And that is our pattern for all the way around. So I'll do it one more time with you, and then I'm going to let you finish it up on your own and meet you at the end of the round. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, here's 5, and our new guy, number 6, is going to stay with number 5. You're going to continue this all the way around, and in your last stitch, where the stitch marker is, you're going to place stitches, your numbers 5 and 6 are going to go in there, and that is going to be the end of the round. So I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, so that was the end of round 6. Okay, and at this point you should have 60 stitches all the way around. We're going to continue moving the exact same way into round 7. We are going to increase 10 stitches. So we're going to start by placing a half double crochet into the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, and number 6 and number 7 are going to stick together. 7 is the new guy in this part of the story. So here's number 6, and number 7 sticks with him. Let's do it again. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, and 6 and 7 go in the same stitch together. And you're just going to continue in that same pattern all the way around to the stitch marker. Remember, at the stitch marker you should have 6 and 7 together into that stitch. So there'll be 2 stitches into that one. That's how you'll know you're right on track. And at the end of the round, go through and count and make sure that you have 70 stitches at the end of this round. And I'll meet you there. Okay, that was the end of round 7. And at the end of this round, you'll have 70 stitches all the way around. Don't forget to place your stitch marker before we move on to round 8. Round 8 works just the same as all of the rounds before it. Number 8 is going to be our new stitch, so he's going to stay with number 7, but otherwise everything is the same as we work our way around. So 1 half double crochet to the first stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next, that makes 2, number 3 into the next, whoops, only went through half, there we go, number 4 into the next, number 5 into the next, number 6 into the next, and number 7, and number 8 go together into the next. And we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around to the end of the round. When you get to the stitch marker, you'll have 2 stitches worked into that stitch, so that'll be 7 and 8 will be going into that one. And I'll meet you at the end of this round. And here we are at the end of round 8. So we should have 80 stitches all the way around. I apologize for my dog. He's behind me and he's shaking his head and his ears are flapping and his collar tags are wagging, jangling. Okay, back to it. So we should have 80 stitches all the way around, And we're going to work on round 9, which is going to work in the exact same way. We're going to do a single crochet into the first 7 stitches, and then in the 8th stitch we are going to put stitches 8 and 9 in together. So I will do that once with you and then leave you to it. So here's 1 in the first, and 1 in the second, and the third. My dog is crying. And the 4th, and the 5th, and the 6th, and the 7th, and in the 8th we're going to put number 8 and number 9 together. I hear you, buddy. Just a minute. Okay, so you're just going to continue that same way all the way around, and when you get to the stitch marker there'll be 2 stitches in that. That'll be number 8 and number 9 will go into that, and that will be the end of the round, and you will have 90 stitches at the end of this round. Now I have to go let my dog out. I'll be right back. Okay, so we just finished row 9, so clicky click, and we're getting ready to start round 10. So round 10 works exactly on the same principle as the previous rounds. We are going to do 1 half double crochet in the next 8 stitches and 2 double crochets, so it'll be stitch number 9 and 10 in the 9th stitch. Okay, so I will do the first pattern. I don't know what to call it. I will do the first bit with you, and then you can go ahead and finish the round on your own. So here we'll start with this one. Here's 1 stitch in the first, 1 in the second, and the third, and the 4th, and the 5th, and the 6th, and the 7th, and the 8th, and we're going to put 9 and 10 together. So here's 9 and 10 in the same stitch. And you're going to work that way all the way around until you get to the end of the round. And as always, the last stitch is at the stitch marker, and you're going to be placing 2 stitches in there. So that should be the end of your last pattern. So if it's not, then you're going to need to go back and count and check where you've messed up. Because that's how every round should end, with the pattern ending in the last stitch. All right, I will see you back at the end of this round. Okay, so that marks the end of round 10. For round 11, we are going to continue in the same way. We're going to do 1 half double crochet into the first 9 stitches, and then 2 half double crochets into the next. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, excuse me, 10, and 11 is going into this same stitch as number 10. So you're just going to continue in that same method all the way around till you get to this stitch marker. And as always, there are going to be 2 stitches placed into that last stitch. You should have 110 stitches at the end of this round. So continue on and I will meet you at the end of the round. Okay, that brings us to the end of round 11. 11 rounds done. For round 12, we are going to continue increasing our stitches, and we're going to do that in the exact same way. We're going to do 1 half double crochet into the first 10 stitches, and from there we're going to do 2 half double crochet into the next. That's going to give us a total of 120 stitches in this round. So I will get you started. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12 are going into the same stitch. And you're going to continue to work in that same way all the way around till you get to the stitch marker. And just like always, when you get to the stitch marker, there's going to be 2 stitches placed in that stitch. All right, continue working and I'll see you at the end of this round. All right, that brings us to the end of round 12. The next rounds are pretty simple. So for rounds 13, 14, 15, and 16, we're going to do 1 half double crochet in every stitch all the way around. 120 stitches for each round. Now remember, we're not going to join, we're going to continue to use our stitch marker. So make sure you remember to place your stitch marker at the last stitch of each round. It's very important. I can't stress it enough. All right, so let's get going. Oh, and you might notice at the end of this that your material is going to start to curl up. That's okay. That's exactly what we're looking for. That's where our beret is starting to turn. All right, we have made it to the end of round 16. Nice. And like I said, you will start to see it curve around here a little bit. So it's starting to have like a little bit of a bowl appearance, so to speak. And also we have this in the middle of our hat. We've got our little tail here. Now this might be a good time to just put a darning needle on there and weave those ends in if you want to, because your hat's going to start getting smaller at this point, and yeah, it might be easier to do it now. I'm going to go ahead and do it later. I'm going to live dangerously, but you can do it now if you want. All right, so let's get ready for round 17. We're going to start decreasing in this round. So we're going to start putting stitches together. I'm just going to show you what I mean rather than try to explain it and then show you. So we're going to half double crochet 2 stitches together. We're going to go into our first stitch. We're going to pull up a loop. And before we do anything else, we're going to go into the very next stitch. Right here, see this one? And we're going to pull up another loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those. And that way we turned 2 stitches into 1. And that's how we are going to decrease. So now we're going to do 11 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And this is where we're now going to do 2 half double crochets together. So we're going to insert in one, pull up a loop, insert in the next one, pull up a loop, and then pull through all 4 stitches. And so you're going to continue working in that way all the way around to the end of this round. Okay, as we complete round 17, you're going to notice that there are 2 leftover stitches here at the end of this round. We are not going to half double crochet them together. We are just going to do regular half double crochets into each of those stitches to finish the round. Sometimes I crochet with the stitch marker still in the stitch, but I'm going to remove it now and put it up there to mark the last stitch of the round. And that's going to give us a total of 110 stitches all the way around. So if you want to take a minute and count and just make sure that you have 110, that's a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and move into round 18. Oh, I forgot to show you. Yeah, we just finished round 17, going into round 18. Okay, for round 18, we're going to work it pretty much the same as round 17, but instead of going 11 stitches and then doing the half double crochet 2 together, we are just going to do 10. Okay, but just like in the previous round, we are going to start off by doing half double crochets together. So we're going to insert our hook. Whoops, I almost did a regular one. Insert our hook, pull up a loop, insert our hook, pull up another loop, so we have 4 on our hook, pull through all 4. So we've half double crocheted 2 together, and now we're going to work 10 half double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoops, 7, there we go, 8, 9, and 10. And now we're going to half double crochet 2 together. There's 1 half, there's the other half, 4 on the hook, 4 on the hook, and pull through all 4 of those loops. So you're going to continue on the same way. You're going to crochet, or I'm sorry, half double crochet 10 stitches and then 2 together, and I will meet you at the end of this round. Alrighty, so we have come to the end of round 18. Getting closer. Alright, at the end of round 18, you should have 100 stitches. We are going to continue to work round 19 in a similar way to round 17 and 18. We're going to half double crochet 2 together, and then we are going to do 9 half double crochets, and then half double crochet 2 together, and that is how it's going to work. So let me put my stitch marker where it needs to be, into the last stitch of the round, and we're going to start working in our next stitch. Now remember what I said, you have to be careful. You have to make sure you're not building into a stitch you've already worked into. So here's the first stitch of the round. So there's 1 and 2. Hopefully my cord is not in the shot. pull through. Okay, so now we're going to work 9 half double crochets. There's 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now we're going to work 2 half double crochets together. So there's the one, whoops, get under that stitch better. And here's the second one, and we're going to work those 2 together. Now your stitches might start to appear a little bit stretched out where you do 2 together. That's okay, that's going to work itself out. You're just, you're pulling that fabric together, and yeah, it's going to stretch out the stitches a little bit. That's okay. Just continue on. So you're going to continue working 9 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets together, and I'm going to let you go there, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. All right, so now we are at the end of round 19. Nice. We just have 2 more rounds of decreases to go, and they are worked in much the same way. We went from 11 stitches to 10 stitches to 9 stitches, so you guessed it. In this round, we are working our way down to 8 stitches. So let's move our stitch marker. And at the at the end of round 18, you should have 90 stitches. Now, I'm just going to let you in on a secret. If you have 91 stitches, don't stress it, okay? It's a hat. It's not super, super important. No big deal if you're 1 over or 1 short. All right, let's get started on row 19. We're going to insert our hook, pull up a loop, insert our hook in the next stitch, and pull up a loop, because we are going to half double crochet 2 together just like in the previous rounds. And then we are going to half double crochet 8 stitches. Oops. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, and there's 8. And now we half double crochet 2 together. 1, 2, pull through all 4 loops. And you're going to continue that all the way around. 8 half double crochets, and then 2 half double crochets together. And I'll see you at the end of this round. All right, we are now at the end of round 20. We just completed round 20. And our stitch count at the end of this round is 80 stitches. You should have a total of 80 stitches all the way around. We are going on to round 21, and that means that this is our last round of decreases. We are going to start 2 half double crochets together, and then we are going to do 7 regular half double crochets, and then half double crochet 2 together again. Boy, that's hard to say for some reason. Okay, let's start off with the 2 half double crochets together. So we have 4 loops on our hook, and we pull through all 4. And now we are going to do 7 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we do 1 and 2 half double crochets together. And then you're going to continue just that way all the way around, 7 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets together, all the way to the end of the round. And I'll meet you at the other side. Okay, that completed the end of round 21. So you can probably see our hat, our beret is really taking shape now. And the only thing we need to do now is to create the band that will fit down over your forehead. Okay, so all that remains is rounds 22 through 27. So that's 21, nope, sorry, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. So that is 6 rows, or rounds. I always say rows, but I mean rounds. And these are not going to be half double crochets. These are going to be single crochets. Okay, so you're going to want to remember to place your stitch marker at the end of each round so you don't lose your spot. And let's just get started. We're just doing single crochets now. So there's 1, 2, 3. I'm guessing you already know how to do a single crochet, but if you don't, you just insert your hook under the stitch, pull up a loop, pull through both loops on the hook. Pretty simple. About the easiest crochet stitch there is. And again, you're just going to do this all the way around for 6 rounds. And I will meet you at the end of round, let's see, what number is it? 27. Meet you at the end of round 27. And we will admire our work. All right, see you then. All right, we have made it to the end of round 27. There's our little clicker. And all that's left to do is to bind off. And I'm going to do that just by pulling my yarn through and snipping it. And sewing in our ends. Now, as you notice, there is like a little bit of a difference here where this stitch ended in the previous round. So what I do is I just thread my needle and I tighten it down as close as I can. And it's pretty minimal, the difference. It's not bad. Let me just pull a needle out here, my little handy dandy case. And we'll thread that. And now that I've got that nice and tight, I'm just going to go into the next stitch here and pull that down nice and tight like that to kind of minimize it. And then I'll go into the next stitch over and pull it down again. And then I'm just going to wind in and out of these stitches to keep it nice and tight. See that? I hope you enjoyed making this beret. I love it. I have made a few of them now and I wear it all the time. My favorite is the red one. So many of my videos now I'm wearing that hat. But I really do love it. It's very comfortable and you can pull it kind of down over your ears a little bit when it gets really cold. Love my new hat. So I hope you enjoy yours too. And if you are interested in having a written pattern to go along with this, there will be one uploaded to Ravelry. And I will leave a link in the description. Just going to snip that end. And I'm going to go through and finish up my ends on the inside of my hat. But you don't need to watch that. That's kind of boring. So there you go. there is your Snow Day Beret. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.